Woo, I got a video. It was an awesome one. I did try X-Mage, but that doesn't work so well on this very, very old laptop. But so my opponent is playing this really interesting deck, main deck Chalice, lots of aggro, basically, it looks like. It's pretty cool. I keep the hand. I don't know, I felt comfortable with it. Like, I had the mana I needed. I had a Venter's Fair, which is big, and I had Lantern and Decay if I had to. It helped me survive until Bridge, which was kind of good because my opponent Chalice is on 1 on turn 1. I was like, what the crap? So I just hold on to it. Opponent doesn't know I have Decay, really. Yeah, opponent says I was the 3rd Lantern pilot that they played in a row. I'm trying out 2 Collective Brutality right now in place of 2 Inquisition. But yeah, play out the Swamp. And I just set myself up to Abrupt Decay at the end of my opponent's turn. And then I untap and play Lantern. And my opponent just concedes when they see the Aether Grid on top. It turns out my opponent cannot beat Aether Grid. So I just win. And so opponent concedes. I didn't know that. I didn't know that's why. Also, probably because my opponent didn't want to give me any information. When I went to go sideboard, I didn't know what to sideboard against my opponent. I just knew Chalice. So game 2. Decent hand, but it's 1 land. I'm like, oh yeah, I can deal with this. I got 2 bridges. I got the Abrupt Decay for Chalice if I need to. I should be okay. And unfortunately, I was not okay. I was Spirit Guide. Oh, okay. Yeah, opponent does boom bust on my only land. And now I'm stuck. I have 0 land. And my opponent has a clock. The Magus of the Moon doesn't really matter. I just need to get the bridge down and play everything else out of my hand. But the Tarmogoyf does matter because that's damage. So I'm on a clock and I have to be able to play that bridge. My opponent has another boom bust in hand though. And that's when I concede. I won't be able to draw the mana I need to play bridge in time to survive. So I just concede there. So we go to game 3. Pretty fast games altogether. Yeah, opponent keeps. Look at that. Magus, Spirit Guide. It's pretty good. I keep because I have a Thoughtseize, I have the combo, and I have Collective Brutality if I need it. So I knew my opponent was going to draw the Chalice, but I have the Thoughtseize to stop it. I was just hoping they didn't have a Spirit Guide. My opponent decides not to Chalice on 1 on turn 1. Okay, I guess. So yeah, I see my opponent's hand, and of course I take the Chalice. Nothing else really matters. Like, the Ancient Grudge is kind of poopy, but my opponent doesn't have a clock, just Magus and Spirit Guide. And I don't know, like, Magus cuts off my Collective Brutality, which is kind of poopy, but it can be blocked by Spellskite. So it's just, now I have a combo where I can dig into stuff, and I'm about to draw a Shredder, and I already know my opponent's hand. So Cathartic Reunion is really the only card I gotta worry about. Yeah, I told my opponent I was surprised that my opponent didn't first turn Chalice. So there's Magus of the Moon, so now I don't even have to worry about Spirit Guide. My opponent played Moon that early. So I just play out a blocker and Shredder. And I'm trying to keep my opponent off of threats here. Off of the Chalice, and what was the other card? Was it 2 Chalice in a row? Here. Oh man, come on now. Chalice of the Void. Yeah, and Cathartic Reunion. There's another Chalice on top. So now I gotta worry about 2 of them. And I know that I know I got an Ancient Grudge to worry about. My opponent kills my Spellskite now, so I don't have blockers. So I am on a clock. But I just need to dig to a bridge, or another Spells Guide, or, you know, a basic land or a Mox Opal so I can collect a Brutality, one of the Magus, and give myself a little bit more time. But my opponent still doesn't have much of a clock on me. And I'm just digging like crazy with my mill rocks. And I see an Aether Grid on top. Aether Grid will take care of both of these Magus and the Spirit Guide that my opponent has in hand. And then I can just play this and let my opponent draw the boom bust, and I'll still be okay. Opponent accidentally kills both of the Magus. It's only one that dies. So I still take 2, I go down to 8. And I told my opponent, like, seems like it's purely anti-lantern deck. But it's not. It's pretty cool though. Opponent still does boom bust against me, and I just mill myself with Shredder. I know Desperate Ritual isn't going to do squat for my opponent. I get a Citadel. Gives me my 3rd mana again. Now I can Aether Grid Magus, use Ghost Quarter on Citadel, and get 2 basic lands. So no Magus in the future even matters. And you can easily kill Spirit Guide before then. Collect a Brutality Spirit Guide. You know, the game's over. I can gain, well, if I draw another card, I can gain 2 life on top of that. Well, it's probably better just to collect a Brutality Spirit Guide. But, I mean, I have the lock. An opponent concedes. Really cool.